Hi guys, this is Ray on Way with No What If. This will be what Jackie has the omnitrix, part 7. For the last part left off, Nezu was asking about the other person of the omnitrix from Ben. They tell him that person is very skilled. After that little meeting with Nezu, Ben heads to sleep and waits till the morning comes. When the morning comes, Ben wakes up and get ready to change to go into hero work. But before he goes, he wants to talk to his son about something. After waiting for a few minutes, he heads towards his son's room, seeing that he's putting his shoes on, about to ready to go outside. Ben asks his son, what is he doing? Izuku looks at him and tells him, well, I'm about to get ready to go get some materials for my hero costume. After putting his shoes on, Izuku basically tells him, you've been a hero since you were 10, and still going. Throughout most of your pictures, I usually see you either in your street clothes or in alien form. Ben basically looks at him and tells him, okay, what about the pictures? In a confused tone. Izuku looks back at him and says, where's your hero costume at? Ben tells him, well, I didn't have or need a hero costume. I just picked the alien I need and just went hero time. Izuku was dumbfounded, basically asks, so wait a minute, you got outed when you was a teenager as a hero. Ben tells him, yes. Izuku basically looks at him and says, how did you not get caught when you was 10 years old? Ben mostly says, well, usually when villains attack, they mostly pay attention to them instead of a child running off. And most of the time when I was a teenager, most people don't look in alleyways. And besides, I usually transform before I get there. Izuku is getting a little bit more confused, basically asking the one question he wants to understand. So, how did you get caught anyway? Ben says, well, I didn't get caught, I just got outed. Izuku said, okay, so how did you get outed then? Ben tells him, I'll tell you another time. Izuku tells him, sure, but I still want a hero costume though. Ben tells him, no problem, the plumbers is already on it. Izuku tells him, really? Wait, why are the plumbers making my costume? Ben tells him, well, the plumber does want to keep a closer eye on you, so that's why we're going to put a tracker in there. And also for some other things that you might need help with. Also, I don't want to tell this to your mother, but I don't know why, but I have this weird feeling you might get sent off into space. Izuku basically looks at his father starstruck, saying, wait a minute, I'm going to be sent off into space? Ben tells him, yes, not intentionally, but something tells me you will. Izuku said there's a lot of trackers on this suit. And plus, why do you need that when you can just track me through my omnitrix? Ben tells him it's much likely the case, but probably like multiple ways to see where your location is. So this would be much better. If it makes yourself feel any better, I have multiple trackers on me too for the plumbers. Also, the same thing goes for the other person with the other omnitrix. Deku looks at his father and tells him that makes sense. Ben looks at him and asks, so what are you going to do today? Deku tells him, I'm not sure. I was going to head to the mall, then go to the movies. Ben looks at Izuku and tells him, I'm about to head to work, and you're coming with me. Deku tells him, really? Alright then, let's go. Ben tells him, hold on. Just 1 second. Ben hands over a device to his son, putting it in his hand. Izuku looks at it and tells him, what is this? Ben tells him we're trying to build a plumber base in Japan, while also getting some new recruits from here. And as for that, we need a new and a good representative of one of the plumbers. And besides, who says a plumber can't join and help a hero school? Deku looks at his father and saying, so does that mean that I'm a plumber? Ben tells him you're a temporary plumber. In other words, you can basically do hero time and basically save from people as long as it's not cutting into your school hours. Deku looks at his father and says, so basically I'm a hero and a plumber too. That's pretty nice. Ben tells him, now hold on. I say you can save people, but when it comes to like serious situations, there's a certain plumber that will be watching you. Izuku asks, so what does that mean? Ben tells him, you'll send a report to the plumbers, letting you know what you're about to do. They'll give you a yes or a no. If your communicator gets destroyed or malfunctions, they can basically send it to you by your omnitrix. If you need for stealthily, they'll show you 3 colors. Green means you can go. Yellow means for you to wait for a backup. And red means no, you can't do that. Izuku looks at his father confused, basically telling him, wait a minute, this thing's always green. How will I know? Ben tells him no, it'll turn into a different shade of green, a darker green. Izuku tells him, okay, that's understandable. And basically looks back to his omnitrix and looks directly at his father saying, So who based this off of a stoplight? Ben scratches his head and tells them, don't know, meet me outside. After saying that, Ben speed walks his way out of the Deku's room. Deku looking at the door saying it was him, wasn't it? Basically sighs and walks out of his room, meeting his father outside. After meeting his father outside, Ben tells him, throughout most of my hero life, and through dealing with the omnitrix, I learned a few things. Before Ben can continue, Deku cuts him off saying, basically transforming into a wrong alien, you wanted something else. Ben looks at his son saying, what made you say that? Gwen, Kevin, Max, Mom, Athmas, some plumbers, and this other partner I used to have called Rook. Ben told him, before you even continue, let me get this one thing straight. That was the omnitrix, not my fault. Before Ben can say anything else, Deku said, Kevin would say you would say that, so he basically told me the fact that you and him broke your watch once. Ben face palms, basically tells him, but it also taught me that all my aliens can be useful in certain situations. So I don't just rely on just one alien to just do that similar job. Izuku tells him, I'm a little bit confused. Ben tells him, just think outside the box. Think outside the big alien box. And just choose different transformations to do other things. Izuku looks at his father and tells him, I understand. Ben tells him, alright, good. Now I'm going to need you to turn into accelerate real quick. After hearing that, he presses his button, turns dial, and transforms into that alien. After seeing his son transform, he does the same thing, turning into an older version of accelerate. Basically telling his son that I will meet you down at the plumber station, just follow me. After nodding, they both run down to the station. After entering inside the building, Izuku sees how big the place is. Ben tells him to keep that badge on you. That's essentially your key card for this place. Before they can go any further, Ben puts on a see-through band right on Deku's arm. He looks at it and basically asks, what is this? Ben tells him these bands on our arms have two major functions. It cancels out people's quirks and it records their quirks in the process. Izuku asks, do we really need the bands on our arms? Ben tells him this is to let the plumber know that this is really us and not some fakers. Izuku tells him that sounds fair enough. Ben tells him, of course it is. Now I need you to stay right here. I'll be right back. Izuku waits for a few minutes, then Ben comes back, telling him that they're not done with your suit yet. You'll at least wait for like 5 days for it to come. Izuku looks at his father and asks, wait, why did you bring me here if my suit wasn't ready? Ben tells him for two reasons. One, so he can know where the plumber base is, and two, to know where to get back up. After that, they begin to talk with the other plumbers. After they leave, Ben tells them, alright, it's time to patrol. Ben looks at Izuku and asks, are you ready? Izuku begins to dial up an alien and says, ready when you are. And they both slam it down. Izuku transforming into accelerate while Ben transforming into fast track. While doing some patrolling, running down the street, they see someone getting robbed. Ben tells Izuku to go ahead. Izuku nods his head and rushes towards the building, knocking him out. After that, giving the person their money back. And they continue to roam around the sea for a little bit until it's time for them to go home. Once they get inside the house, Ben tells him, you did pretty nice for a beginner. Deku scratched the back of his head, telling his father, thanks, but it all goes to you. You did train me after all. Ben tells him, yeah, I know, but there are two things you must know before you go to UA. Izuku tells him, sure, what is it? Ben tells him, you cannot tell any student that you are a plumber. The only ones that will notice is some of the teachers and the principal. Izuku said, wait a minute, so they're just going to let me go and just do some hero work? Ben tells him, you're a plumber first, a hero next, so they're not going to bother you. Ben continues to tell Deku that you cannot talk about your work outside of school. If you have any crucial information, you tell the teachers or the plumbers. Izuku tells him, sure, but there's only one problem. Ben looks at him and tells him, what is that problem? Izuku tells him, when they see me transform inside the school, and then see me on the newsletter doing some hero work, won't they put two and two together? Ben tells him, I can see that you're worried about that. That's why I have that all covered up. Izuku tells him, okay, I just wanted to make sure. After saying that, they both head inside the house. They wait for a few more days until Deku gets his letter, telling him that he got in. After that, after a few more days, he basically gets his uniform and heads off into UA. Once Deku gets inside the school building, he basically begins to rush in the hallway, trying to find class 1A. Once he sees it, he basically wonders why the door is so big. He prepares himself and opens the door, seeing two people yelling at each other. Once Izuku heads inside, they both look at him. Bakio giving him a pissed off look, and the blue-haired boy comes up to him, shaking his hand, saying that his name is Tensei Ida. Izuku tells him, I heard you yelling at the other boy. He basically puts his other hand out, his right hand, and tells him, my name is Izuku Tennyson. After they're done shaking hands, he begins to find a seat, and the seat that he picks is in the middle of the class. Uraka comes in but doesn't notice him, so she just sits down as well. When Shizawa crawls in, he gets out of his sleeping bag, tells him, I'm your homeroom teacher, it took y'all too long to shut up, and pulls out a gym uniform and tells him to put these on and meet me outside. After hearing that, they all look at each other and just decide to go with it. They all grab their gym uniform and head to the changing room. After they're done, they both head outside. Once they're all outside, Aizawa tells them, alright, now it's time to do a core comprehension test. One of the kids basically asks, what about orientation? Aizawa tells him, we don't need that. Before they begin, Aizawa begins to wonder who should make go first, Katsuki Bakugo or Tennyson. He begins to think about it, and he begins to think about Deku's father, thinking about all the shenanigans that he got into. Aizawa looks at him and tells him, Tennyson, I'm gonna need you to throw this ball as hard as you can. The students begin to wonder who that is, until they see a flashing light behind them. Basically, a giant red man with 4 arms. The red titan comes up to Aizawa and tells you need a ball thrown. 4 arms can get it done. When he says that, he begins to crack his knuckles. After that, he grabs the ball and begins to pitch it, throwing it around 12,000 meters. After seeing and hearing that score, they all begin to wonder who that is and how strong is he. Well, Bakugo just noticed that the only person that isn't there is Izuku. So he just puts 2 and 2 together and telling that red guy is Izuku and begins to rush him. Aizawa sees this and gets his scarf ready. Before he does anything, Deku begins to walk in Bakugo's direction and clap both of his hands, making a small shockwave to knock him down. After getting knocked down, Bakugo looks at him and tells him, Deku, you were hiding your quirk from me this whole time, you bastard. Deku pressing down on the omnitrix, turning back into human. Izuku tells him, I gained nothing from showing it off to anyone. So why I'll show it off to you? Bakugo begins to seize, saying, are you looking down upon me? Deku gets angry, tells him, of course, anyone will look down upon a rabid dog such as yourself. Bakugo begins to seize, basically yelling at Deku, what did you just call me? But before he can do anything else, Deku steps back and Aizawa grabs Bakugo with his scarf. After restraining Bakugo, Aizawa looks at Deku and tells him don't do it again. Deku crosses his arm, tells him, hey, if you stop trying to kill me, I'll stop. Aizawa sighs, tells him, alright, just head back over there. Aizawa sighs, looks at Bakugo, tells him, if you do that again, I'll expel you on the spot. Bakugo looks back at him, tells him, what? So you're gonna let him off the hook but not me? Aizawa tells him, you came in to harm him while he defended himself. After hearing that, Aizawa takes his scarf off him and tells him to get back over there. After hearing that, he walks back over to his other classmates. The next test that we're doing is the 30-meter dash. Everyone else goes, and when it's Deku and Bakugo's turn, he transforms into Accelerate. After seeing that, everybody wonders, does he have more transformations? But Uraka realized that's Izuku. That's the form that he took that saved her. After Aizawa tells him to go, Bakugo runs off, putting explosions behind him. But before Bakugo can get anywhere farther, Deku runs past him and already reaches the end of the line, getting a score of 0.2 seconds. They all begin to look at him wondering how strong and how fast he really is. After that, when it comes to the other tests or any strength-related tests, Deku chooses 4 arms and accelerates for the speed test. When it comes towards the 50-meter dash, Deku just runs on his own. It almost comes to an end, then they finish it off with a ball throw. Everyone's scores staying the same. Aizawa tells him that this is the end of the test and shows everyone a score, showing that Deku is in first place. And he tells him, as for the person in last place, and they show that it's Minoru Mineta, tells him, pack your things, you're leaving. After hearing that, most of the kids had sympathetic looks towards him, and then he begins to complain about not being able to touch any girl at all. After everyone hears that, they begin to change their mind, saying, oh, good riddance. Momo shrugs that off, begins to monologue, saying that he actually spelled someone. I thought it was just a lie to get us to work harder.